Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. As we're getting ready to start this live, go ahead and share this live to your favorite Facebook groups, your favorite Facebook communities. If you're on TikTok, your favorite TikTok friends, go ahead and share this live today as we are going to be talking about small business finances. All right. So I already shared that. All right, so welcome to another Tuesday. Happy Tax Talk Tuesday. We are live every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, talking about all things business, taxes, and finances. And so, if you are new here, I am Chastity Grady. At Grady Tax Plus, it is my mission to make sure that we are keeping the IRS out of your pockets, okay? Why? Because we want you to live a better life and you deserve to, right? You deserve to live a better life. And what more way to live a better life is by making sure the IRS is not trying to take money from you, right? So each week I'm giving you a topic that's going to resonate with you to help you either keep the IRS out of your pockets or to be preventative, right? So that you don't even get to that level where the IRS is trying to take money from you at all, right? So last week we were talking about IRS letters. Okay, we talked about the three most common IRS letters that you could receive, what to do about it. So, for example, if the IRS said that you messed up your return or you left off something on your return, then they will send you a CP 2000. It's up to you to decide if the IRS is right or wrong. Typically, they're mostly right that you did not report something, but as far as like any additional taxes that you may owe, they're typically not 100% correct in that matter. So you always want to make sure that you're never ignoring the IRS letters. And if you did ignore that letter, or if you did everything right on your tax return and it led to you having a bill, then the IRS will send you a letter in regards to that, having an IRS bill. And then if you ignore that letter, if you ignore that you have a balance due, then the IRS will escalate that to a CP 504, okay, a CP 504 or LT11, and that's when they are trying to actually levy your bank accounts. They're letting you know, like, they're sick of you, they're done. This is your final notice, and we want our money now, right? That's one of those we want our money now letters, okay? In any of those letters, you definitely don't want to ignore them. You never want to ignore an IRS letter. You never want to ignore an IRS deadline on the letter, because those deadlines is basically their internal system letting them know that if we don't hear anything back, if we don't get any correspondence back from them by this date, then we are moving on to the next phase, which is going to be the severity just increases from there. So you never want to ignore an IRS letter. You always want to contact me whenever you get an IRS letter so that we can look at it, so that we can jump on it ASAP. All right. So that was last week, what we talked about last week. This week, we're talking about understanding small business finances, okay? We've talked about understanding small business taxes before, but now we're going to talk about understanding small business finances and what does that look like for you and what do you need to do in regards to your finances, okay? So, this live is for you if you're a business owner. So, if you're a business owner, make sure you're tuning in, make sure you stay locked in because you're going to need to know what you need to do about your small business finances, okay? So, if you're a small business owner, definitely want to stay on this live. All right, so here we go. Here we go. When it comes to your small business finances, number one, let me tell you what the IRS says. Let me tell you about what the IRS says about your small business finances, okay? They tell you that you must, okay? It's a requirement that you are keeping records, okay? They call it record keeping. We call it bookkeeping. They say there must be a way that you are keeping track of your income and expenses. There must be a way. They don't tell you what way, but there must be a way. Because the income minus the expenses, the revenue minus your expenses equals what they are going to tax you on. They're going to tax you on that net profit. So they need you, okay? It's in the best interest of the IRS, but we're gonna talk about what's in the best interest for you as well. But from the IRS standpoint, they're saying it's in the best interest for them if you are keeping track of your revenue that you brought in, the expenses that you spend out, because that's what we're gonna tax you on. For you, it's important that you are keeping track of your revenue, what you brought in, your expenses, what you spent out, because that net profit, yes, we got to account for taxes, but that net profit is also how you implement your strategy. This is where the strategy starts to begin. A lot of times we think the strategy starts when we're making the money, right? The revenue that we brought in, that's where we think the strategy starts. And there's strategy to when you're making your money, but the strategy, the real strategy, happens after you spent the money on your necessary and ordinary business expenses, and then what's left over. That is what we're strategizing, right? Because that net profit, that is going to determine what we do with that money at the end. Is going to determine how much of that are we going to keep. And this is how you determine, and this is how you distinguish between having a profitable business and a business that's not profitable at all. Okay. What is left over at the end of the month, right? And if after you spend all of your business expenses, then your net profit is left with very little, then okay, we probably got to move the strategy up some. Okay, maybe we do got to start the strategy up within the expenses. But typically, what happens is if you are a typical business owner who's not spending a lot of excess in your business, maybe you have higher net profits, you don't have a lot of expenses, maybe you're only spending your money on software subscriptions and things like that, and you're not investing into heavy programs. When I say heavy programs, like coaching programs or consulting, things like that, then you're gonna have money that's left over. You're gonna have money that's left over. And so, like I said before, that strategy, the strategy that you want to start with, if all else is good, your revenue is good, expenses are good, and you've already accounted for everything, then what's left over, that's where we want to start the strategy. Okay, so let's start with understanding our small business finances when it comes to the net profit. So within that net profit, that's if you are not a C corp, or if you are not an S corp. Within that net profit, this is where your paycheck comes from. This is where your pay comes from, right? It comes out of that net profit. But a lot of times we think that all of the net profit should be our paycheck. A lot of times we're thinking that somebody say all, we think that all of the net profit should be our paycheck. So let me break it down for you. Let's say you make $7,000 in revenue. That's what you grossed. You spend out $2,000. That left you with $5,000. Most people would think that all of that $5,000, that is mine to pay myself with, to pay my bills, to pay my rent, my mortgage, my car insurance, my car note, all of the things, groceries, everything. A lot of you think that $5,000 is now for you. However, when you operate your business that way, when you operate your business thinking that all of the net profit is for you, then you will find yourself, when it's time to file your tax returns, that you owe a lot of money to the IRS, and you don't have the money to pay the IRS because you thought all of that net profit, all that was left over, was for you. And then it leaves you with not having any business savings. So now you don't have any extra money. So if something comes up, or if you want to pay for something or invest in a program, there's no money to invest in it because you have taken all, somebody say all, you have taken all of that net profit for yourself. And so this is why I say this is where the strategy comes in. This is where the strategy comes in. And so if you are in the Fire Your Boss Facebook group, this is about to bless your life. This is about to bless your life. If you're in the Fire Your Boss Facebook group, I'm streaming in my Social Workers and Therapists with Tax Questions Facebook group, my Fire Your Boss Facebook group. I'm also streaming in the Gold Friends and Elite Sister Circle. So I'm streaming in a couple of groups. But if you are in the Fire Your Boss Facebook group, let me tell you, this is about to bless you, what I'm about to say, because you should already be you should already be doing this, okay? And if you're in my Social Workers and Therapists with Tax Questions Facebook group, a couple months ago, we also did this as well. We're probably going to have to do it again. All right, here we go. What happens with that net profit, right? We talked about, you thought all of it was supposed to go to you, right? And if you are someone who is in full-time entrepreneurship, or you want to be in full-time entrepreneurship, what you do with this net profit is going to be key. It's going to, like I said, it's going to distinguish between being profitable and not, right? So here we go. Remember when I talked about that B word? Anybody want to tell me what the B word is? Put the B word in the comments, put the B word in the chat. The B word is budget. And not just any budget, your personal budget. And oftentimes, business owners make this mistake thinking that their personal finances don't have a direct effect or don't have a direct correlation with what's going on with their business. And that's the wrong way to think about it. And the reason why it's the wrong way to think about it, because I already said you think that all, somebody say all, you think that all of the net profit belongs to you. So that is a personal matter. So we have to look at, okay, what's going on with me personally? I have to look at my personal budget. This is something that I teach in my 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. We go more in detail with it, as relates to your business finances. But what do I have? What's going on with my personal budget? Because it's my personal budget that might bankrupt my business if I'm taking all of the net profit. I'm gonna keep hitting on that word all. There's something going on in my personal finances that is preventing my business from being able to have more equity, to be able to have more cash, to be able to have more of a cash asset within the business. There's something going on with my personal finances that I got to look a little bit closer at, because the strategy is in what I'm doing with that net profit. The strategy is in what I am doing with the net profit. So we gotta look at the personal budget. This is why I do not leave this out of my 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp training. And coming up in October, that is our last month that we're going to be doing the training. Okay, so if you want to get into my 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp, you're going to want to get into the October training. Okay, I'm gonna put the link in the comments for you on Facebook. But our 90-day bookkeeping training, it starts in October. It's our last one of the year. We'll be with each other October, November, December. Okay? And so this is why I do not leave it off, because I want you to be able to be profitable in business. I want to make sure that you're not bankrupting the business. And your personal budget, your personal finances is one of the number one ways that you can bankrupt your business, okay? And if you want to be in full-time entrepreneurship for my Fire Your Boss Facebook community people, if you want to be in full-time entrepreneurship, you have to look closely at what's going on with me personally. Because I want my business to be what I'm relying on, to be my bread and butter, to be what supports my household 100%, and not rely on a job. But I have to look at my personal finances. I have to look at my budget. And so I'm also going to share with you, because for you who are in the Fire Your Boss Facebook group, you should have already downloaded your free personal budget tracker. And once you become a part of my 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp, we go into this more detailed one-on-one. I'm about to put this in the comments for you. But this is something you have to look at. Okay? So within this personal budget tracker, I'm putting it in the comments for you on Facebook. Give me a second. All right. So within this free personal budget tracker, you're going to put all of your expenses down. You're going to put all of your expenses down for my personal life. What am I spending on rent, my mortgage, car insurance, card note, personal care, if I'm putting money back for savings, if I'm tithing, shopping, dining out, all the things. What do I need to live comfortably personally? Not to be on the struggle bus. Because if you start leaving off stuff, then when you want those things, you're going to find yourself being on the struggle bus. We do not want to be on the struggle bus in full-time entrepreneurship. So you have to put all of those things. And then once we're going through the 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp, once we're able to see what is my net profit, And how does that compare? I got two hands up. And how does that compare to my personal budget? Okay? How does that compare to my personal budget? And if I find that the net profit is equal to my personal budget, then if I were to go into full-time entrepreneurship at this time thinking that, oh, my business is able to cover, I will find myself being behind on taxes, not having money to pay taxes, and not having any business savings. Because where I need to have PTO. I'm gonna need to have my days off. I'm going to need to have savings for when those slow moments come. I'm gonna need to have something that's gonna be my backup in case those moments are here. And where's the money gonna come from? This is why people who are in full-time entrepreneurship, they can't go on vacations. They can't take 2 weeks off without being on a struggle bus. And I might sound a little harsh, but I'm just being, this is just factual information. I'm not gonna water it down. This is facts. And so in order to be able to thrive and not just trying to survive, be able to thrive and not just trying to survive in full-time entrepreneurship, I gotta look at what I gotta look at how much it costs to support me. How much do it cost me? How much do it cost my family? If you have a family, how much does it cost to us or me to live personally? To where I can live comfortably. I can still have the things that I want. I can definitely have all of my needs met. But what does that look like? And when I compare that to what is going on in my business, and if the two are not in alignment, then I gotta make some shake, is what I like to say. I gotta make some shake. I either gotta stay on the job a little bit longer, I either gotta save up a little bit longer, I gotta store up a little bit longer, or I have to go and make more money in my business, implement some tax strategies to save money on taxes, be strategic with my business expenses, some things that I probably would have spent on personally. How can I transform that into a business expense now? I gotta get a little bit more creative. But you wouldn't know to do that if you did not understand your small business finances. So that's why we have to understand our small business finances. We have already established at the beginning of our Tax Talk Tuesday live, since we've been doing this for the past 4 or so weeks now, 5 or so weeks, is that accounting is the language of business. Accounting is the language of business. Therefore, if I'm in business, I got to know the language. What's the language of business? Accounting. And a lot of times, as entrepreneurs, especially my social workers and therapists, we think that because I didn't go to school for this, that I'm not a numbers person, that I should ignore the numbers. I don't have to worry about the numbers. Somebody else could worry about the numbers. But as the CEO, as the owner of your business, it's a requirement for you. It's a requirement that you know what your numbers mean, how you're going to hire, how are you going to scale up or scale down if you want to scale down and bring, you want to slow down in your business. How do you know if you can invest into the next program? How do you know if you're able to truly, if you have not yet fired your boss yet, how do you know that you can truly fire your boss for good if you don't know the numbers? And I'm not saying you got to know everything. I'm not saying you got to know credits and debits and all the things. I'm just saying you have to know the basics. The 101. Bookkeeping 101. That's the first class that we cover within our 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. Understanding the basics. What is going on within the accounting system? Why does all of this, what's the chart of accounts about? What are the categories about? What is all of this? Why do I even need to categorize things? Many of us are still on spreadsheets that we cannot categorize where our income is going. And we have to assign our dollars. All of our dollars go into a bucket. Either goes in the asset bucket, the liability bucket, the equity bucket, our income bucket, our expense bucket. It got to go into one of those five buckets, and we got to know which bucket to put it in, the right bucket to put it in. Because if we put it in the wrong bucket, then we mess up our taxes. And matter of fact, if you look at your tax form, if you look at the Schedule C, if you look at the 1120S, if you're an S corp, if you look at 1065, if you're a partnership, or 1120 for C corps, there's spots for there's buckets for the income, there's buckets for the expenses, the different types of buckets, and they all can't just go in one bucket. It has to be itemized in a certain place. So that's why I say, even at the bare minimum, that even if you don't upgrade into an accounting system and use a bookkeeping software because you in your mind you think, oh, I don't need to do that, and you absolutely do. Anybody who's in business has to have an accounting system, especially if you want to scale and grow. You don't wait until you're growing, because then how are you going to contain the growth, right? We don't want to be in chaos when we're growing to the next level. We want to be able to just flow right into that season. And so at the bare minimum, your business finance tracker, the one that I have, that at the bare minimum, if you do want to stay on the spreadsheets, that at the bare minimum allows you to be able to put the things in the buckets. So you know how much you spent in advertisement, and you know how much to put in that bucket. So you know what was in office expenses. So you know what was in legal and professional fees. So you know all of those things. You know you can put those in those buckets. In 2026 that's coming up, we have to be a little bit more intentional about our money. We went in business to make money, so it only makes sense that we're being a little bit more intentional about what we're doing with our money, about understanding our money, knowing what's coming in and what's going out, being very specific about this. I don't know why we treat our entrepreneurship, we treat our business as if it's just the side piece that you don't care about. We don't want to treat our business like the side piece that we don't care about. Okay? We want to treat this as if it's our main piece, our main chick, our main dude, whatever, whatever your preference is. We gonna treat this like it's our main thing, even if it's not our main thing yet. For those of you who are still on the job, we have to treat it as if it's our main thing, right? We got to pay attention to it. We got to see what our business like, what makes our business thrives, what makes our business smile, what makes our business happy, what makes it thrive, right? We got to be a little bit more attentive. We can't treat it like the side piece and pick it up here and there and slap it up here and there. I didn't mean to go that intentional, but I just had to say that. We can't treat it like the side piece, right? And just throw it by the wayside and be done with it at any given moment. Have you ever been a side piece before? Maybe you haven't been a side piece before. You don't know what it feels like. Okay? Maybe you don't know what it feels like to be a side piece. But when you're a side piece, listen, you be begging for attention. You want that person to pay attention to you. You want them to be like, hey, pick me, pick me, pick me. I'm here. I'm here when you need me. Right? As a side piece, your side piece, their future is variable. Their future is questionable because they don't know if you're going to give up on them, by tomorrow night or what. They don't know. And that's how your business feels. Your business doesn't know. Whew. Your business doesn't know if you're going to give up on them by tomorrow night. They don't know if you're going to pick up the phone. They don't know. The business don't know. It's unpredictable. And I want to encourage you to drop that side piece role and upgrade your business to the main piece, to the main enchilada, where you're going to make sure the business is good. If the business needs something, you're going to make sure you get it. You're going to take real good care of it. You're going to make sure the business sleeping good at night, that it's waking up in the morning, their day is getting started. You're going to make sure, right? You're going to make sure of that. But again, a lot of that has to do with our mindset. And we wasn't talking about mindset on today. We were just talking about understanding small business finances. But it's also a mental thing. It's about how we envision our business in our mind, right? What's going on in our mind about our business. And we do have to have that shift. We do have to have a transformation within our mind when it comes to that. I had to talk to y'all on the mindset another day. Okay, I had to provide you that behavioral insight on another day. But as it relates to small business finances, you have to know your numbers. I wouldn't like it for you if the IRS were to question anything on your tax return and the only answer you had to give them was that, oh, I just put something on there. Oh, I just gave this person anything just so we can hurry up and get it done. I wouldn't like that for you. I would like for you to be confident that if you were to receive an IRS letter, regardless to what that letter say, that you know without a shadow of a doubt that your stuff is tight and it's right. Okay? That you know that your stuff is on point. You know your business finances are organized. You know there's no leaks. That everything is all good. So regardless to what the IRS letters say, that you are on ready. Because we stay ready so we don't have to get ready, right? That you on ready. And when you know your business finances is on ready, when you know that everything is tight and right, and when you know when everything is on point, all is good, you can show up confidently in your business. You can show up confidently in front of your clients, in front of your customers, and be who you are, and operate in your uniqueness, and operate in your uniqueness, right? In your calling. You can actually show up confidently and be who you are because you know everything tight and right. Many of you are missing out on being able to show up as your true, authentic self in your business, to really go out and accelerate in your business, to go to the next level in your business because of this one area. It's making you have imposter syndrome. It's making you have imposter syndrome, right? It is. Not having systems in place, not having all your ducks in a row, that makes you have imposter syndrome. And a lot of you think, oh, it's because, I need to hire a coach, or it's because I need to do better in my marketing. And that could be true. However, if you don't have your numbers together, then all of that growth that you're trying to produce, it's going to fall by the wayside. Because you didn't have the lens to be able to see and capture, okay, what am I going to do with this net profit? Is it in alignment with my personal budget? What am I going to do with the tax piece? What am I going to do with the savings piece? What am I going to do with the investment piece? What I'm going to do with those buckets that we talked about? So it behooves you that, hey, if I want to start showing up, I want to start showing up better in my business. I want to start actually operating at the level that I know I can operate in. I know I'm supposed to be doing the thing. I know I'm supposed to be on that stage. I know I'm supposed to be that person who is dominating my field. I know I'm supposed to be that person. But it's my back end because I don't have my back end right, my finances. I can't see. I can't see the picture. I can't see the overall financial health of my business. That will prevent you from going to the next level. And we already said that accounting is the language of business. So you got to know just a little bit about it in order to be financially successful. So if you haven't already, make sure you click the link in the comments for the 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. Listen, this is the last one of the year coming up in October. So we're enrolling now for September. I have 3 spots left. I forgot to mention that. I have 3 spots left for you to be able to have that back end right, to be able to have your business tight and right, to be able to know if I'm ready to go into full-time entrepreneurship, I know what it looks like to do it. And if you are already in full-time entrepreneurship, how to be able to sustain being there so that you don't have to go apply for a job, right? So we only have 3 spots left in our 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. This is perfect for you if you're a service-based business owner. Okay. If you're in a spreadsheet, you want to go from the spreadsheet to the software. If you're already in Wave or QuickBooks, but you don't know how to use it the right way, you need the strategy on top of it, then this is for you. We are doing one-on-one classes, 2 classes a month with homework in between. Okay. You get access to the recordings. And you get 90 days within this 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. You get 90 days of support with me, with the one and only Chastity Grady. Okay? And by the end of that, listen, you're going to be able to sleep good at night. You're going to make sure that the IRS is not going to be knocking on your door. And if they do, you're going to be on ready because you got ready. Okay? So smash that link, 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. Again, only 3 spots left. We're getting started in October. The next time I do this class, it won't be until next year in June. And we don't want you going those 6 months, the first 6 months of the year, not having any financial strategy in place. I need you to have that financial strategy in place. Because 2026, maybe 2025, you had some hopes and some dreams and some goals, and it didn't pan out. But coming up in 2026, we want to make sure you're starting the year off right, because we're going to end the boot camp in December. Come January 1, you're going to be all ready. You're going to be, listen, you're going to be so ready. You're going to have your systems in place, your financial systems in place. You're going to have the confidence you need to manage your money, to make the money, to know what to do with the money when you make the money, right? And if it's your goal to fire your boss in 2026, just go ahead and start drafting your letter now. Okay. Go ahead and start drafting your letter now, because we're going to see what it takes to do it. All right. So 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. Additionally, we are having our Clarity in Cash Accelerator 2.0 retreat coming up in November. This is a 1-day retreat in Austin, Texas, November the 8th, with the option to have an overnight stay. And in this Clarity and Cash routine, remember we talked about the mind? We were just touching just a little bit on the mind. I still have to come back with y'all on the behavioral insight, okay? Many of you who don't know, I'm licensed as a licensed clinical social worker. That's where my background is. So that's why I'm able to give you behavioral insight along with the financial strategy to make you be in beast mode for your business. Okay, let me say that again. That's why I'm able to give you the behavioral insight along with the financial strategy so that you can be in beast mode when it comes to managing your business and being a business owner. So at the Clarity and Cash Accelerator Retreat, at that retreat is for you to have come and have your business, your finances, having clear vision on what you're going to do for 2026, right? A clear vision on what you want to do, how much money you want to make, how are you going to do it, the steps to take to get there. But also clarity, being clear in our mind. So even though I'm a licensed clinical social worker, I would not be your licensed clinical social worker that day. I would have a therapist, a licensed therapist who's going to come in to help you have a mini, okay, therapeutic, a mental therapeutic session, a financial therapeutic session for you. Okay, it's going to be very strategic. Last year was very good. Okay, we had Dr. B who came in to do that part. And so in this year, it's going to be even more powerful. All right. So Our wait list, sorry, not wait list, our interest meeting. Let me get you that. Our interest meeting for the Clarity and Cash Retreat is on September the 17th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you click the link to join the interest meeting. Okay. So sign up for the Clarity and Cash Accelerator Retreat interest meeting. Okay. I'll just put that in the comments on Facebook. Interest meeting on September. That's on September. That's on a Wednesday, September 17th at 6 p.m. Central. All right. It's gonna bless your life. Okay. You're gonna eat real good. Okay. I'm gonna have my dessert lady have you a really nice dessert box. This is only for women. We're gonna be in a nice house. Last year we were in Houston. We were in an all white house so we can have our minds be clear. And we're gonna mimic the same, but in Austin, Texas. All right. Everything is bigger and better in Austin, Texas. So that's what we're gonna be doing. So if you have any questions about anything, definitely leave me a comment. I hope you enjoyed this live. Hashtag replay. If you're catching the replay, if you're able to get something, if you're able to get some nuggets, either leave it in a comment or DM me. Hey, this was a nugget for me. This part, what you said, that was a nugget for me. Thank you. Okay. Share this live in your favorite Facebook groups, in your favorite Facebook communities or offline communities. Share this live with people who need to know and understand small business finances and what to do. As it relates to upcoming deadline, September 15th is our third estimated tax quarterly payment. Okay. So if you need to pay your estimated tax payment, that's September the 15th directly to the IRS. That's due. All right. Again, in our 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp, we'll show you how to estimate that so you know how much you should be paying each quarter. All right, we break it down by month. All right, so that's what I have for y'all today. We will be back here next Tuesday for our Tax Talk Tuesday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time for our Fire Your Boss community. On Friday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, we will be back for our Fire Your Boss live. And I'll see you next week.